NAFTA, or the North American Free Trade Agreement, was a trade agreement between three major member states: United States, Canada, Mexico. These three countries signed NAFTA in 1994, creating one of the largest free trade zones in the world, with the aim of reducing trade barriers and tariffs between the member nations. The rules of NAFTA can be traced back to the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement, which was signed in 1988. This bilateral agreement eliminated many tariffs and trade barriers between the US and Canada, setting the stage for broader regional cooperation. In 1990, Mexico expressed interest in the free trade agreement with the US, leading to trilateral negotiation between the US, Canada, and Mexico. Negotiations officially began in 1991, focusing on reduce trade barriers, promoting investment, and creating a framework for resolving trade disputes. The agreement was signed by US President George H.W. Bush, Mexican President Carlos Salinas, and Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney in 1992. NAFTA faced a political debate, especially in the US, where there was concerns about potential job losses. Nonetheless, the agreement was ratified by the US Congress in 1993 and officially went into effect on January 1, 1994. In 2018, the three countries renegotiated the FTA to modernize the agreement. This led to the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, which went into effect on July 1, 2020. The USMCA introduced changes in areas such as labor rights, digital trade, and automotive manufacturing rules. The NAFTA had several key objectives aimed at fostering economic growth and strengthening trade relations among the three countries. First of all, NAFTA aimed to gradually eliminate tariffs, duties, and other trade barriers on goods and services exchanged between the US, Canada, and Mexico. This reduction of trade barriers was designed to enhance market access and increase the flow of goods and services across borders. Secondly, the agreement sought to create a more open and predictable environment for investment among the three nations by offering greater protection to investors and removing barriers to cross-border investment. And the FTA encourages businesses to invest in each other's economics, fostering economic integration. Moreover, one of the NFTA's objective was to establish a framework for ensuring fair competition in the marketplace. It included mechanisms for resolving trade disputes among member countries, creating a transparent and fair process for addressing conflicts related to trade and investment. The NFTA aimed to enhance cooperation on economic, environmental, and labor-related issues. By fostering closer ties between the economies, the agreement was expected to boost economic growth, created jobs, and improved living standards in all three countries, particularly in Mexico. Although not part of the original core agreement, the FTA led to the development of side agreements addressing environmental and labor issues, aiming to prevent companies from exploiting lower standards in Mexico and encouraging sustainable practice across the border. Canada was a key player in the creation and the implementation of the North American Free Trade Agreement. Before NAFTA, Canada and the United States had already established strong trade ties through the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement signed in 1988. This bilateral deal eliminated most tariffs between the two countries and laid the groundwork for further regional integration. When Mexico sought a similar trade agreement with the U.S. in the early 1990s, Canada joined the negotiations to ensure its trade interests was protected. This led to the formation of an FTA, trilateral trade agreement that expanded free trade across North America. For Canada, NAFTA expanded its size to the U.S. market and opened up new opportunities in Mexico. The agreement aimed to eliminate tariffs protected in intellectual property and promote cross-border investment. And the FTA significantly boosted Canadian exports, especially in key sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, and energy. The automotive industry in particular benefits from integrated supply chains across the three countries, while some industries experiences challenges due to increased competition. And FTA generally leads to job creation in export-driving sectors and attractive for indirect investment into Canada. In 1917, the U.S. called for a renegotiation of an FTA. Canada, alongside the U.S. and Mexico, entered into talks to modernize the agreement, resulting in the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, known as CUSMA in Canada. The North American Free Trade Agreement provided significant benefits and advantages to various stakeholders, including businesses, consumers, and governments in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Firstly, an FTA led to the substantial increase in trade between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. By eliminating tariffs on most goods traded between the three countries, it facilitated smoother and most cost-effectively trade. This helped boost the economics of all member states, promoting GDP growth and creating a more integrated North American economy. In addition, NAFTA played a significant role in boosting industrialization in Mexico, particularly in the manufacturing sector. The agreement attracted foreign direct investment from both the U.S. and Canada, leading to the creation of millions of jobs, especially in export-oriented industries like automotive and electronics. Also, the FTA helped North American companies become more competitive globally, and the agreement allowed businesses to optimize their operations by sourcing inputs from the most efficient locations across the three countries. For example, US and Canadian firms could take advantage of lower cost manufacturing in Mexico, improving their competitiveness in global markets. Finally, an FTA fostering closer political and economic ties between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. By increasing economic interdependence, the agreement helped stabilize relations between the countries, promoting cooperation of border issues, including labor standards, environmental concerns, and immigration. The Despite its many benefits, the FTA had several weaknesses and drawbacks that impact the various stakeholders in different ways. One of the most significant criticisms of an FTA was its role in job losses, particularly in manufacturing industries in the United States and Canada. Companies relocated production to Mexico to take advantage of lower labor costs, leading to factory closures and unemployment. In sectors like automotive, textiles, and electronics, many American workers in manufacturing were displaced as the result, and some Canadian industries also saw the decline. While NFTA created jobs in Mexico, particularly in manufacturing, many of the jobs offer low wages and poor working conditions. The economic benefits of NFTA were unevenly distributed in the Mexico wealthier regions and those with export-oriented industries saw growth, while poorer areas, especially in agriculture, struggled, exacerbating income inequality. NFTA's trade liberalization led to increased industrial activities, which in some cases causes environmental degradation. Particularly in Mexico, the side agreements on environmental protection were seen as weak and insufficient in addressing cross-border pollution, deforestation, and industrial waste management. Many critics in the United States argue that an FTA led to significant trade imbalances, particularly with Mexico. U.S. imports from Mexico surged, contributed to the perception that American jobs were being outsourced, while the benefits was occurring disproportionately to business and elitist not workers. NAFTA significantly advances economic progress by fostering trade, investment, and competitiveness among the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, creating one of the world's largest free trade zones by eliminating tariffs and trade barriers. The agreement greatly increased the cross-border trade, particularly in industries like automotive, manufacturing, and agriculture. This led to notable economic growth in all three countries, enhanced productivity, and better integration of supply chains. Consumers benefit from lower price and a wider variety of goods, while businesses gain access to larger markets and cost-saving opportunities, especially through more efficient production and distributing systems. Despite these advantages, NFTA has notable drawbacks. It contributed to job losses in the manufacturing sector in the U.S. and Canada, where companies outsourced the production to Mexico due to lower labor costs. Mexico workers often faced low wages and poor working conditions, while small farmers in Mexico struggled to compete with subsidized U.S. agriculture products. Environmental concerns also arose from increased industrialization with insufficient regulatory enforcement. While the agreement was criticized of the forward as labor, environmental, and regional inequality issues, and overall economic benefits, trade growth, consumer benefits, and business expansion outweighed these challenges. Thank you for listening.